Hi folks, it's me again, talking sci-fi modelling and the worlds of Gerry Anderson, in particular Space 1999 and the iconic Eagle Transporter, which I know is still favourite of many. My first exposure to this design came probably, I'm guessing, late 1974 or early 1975, when I was in the toy department of Dan Evans' a department store in Barry, where I was raised. And I remember going in once and there was a kind of placard, a cardboard placard advertising forthcoming Dinky products, and it had a drawing of the Eagle Transporter, an exciting looking sketch, and it announced it was a new model based on a new Gerry Anderson series. So of course I knew enough about Gerry Anderson shows to know that I liked them, even though I hadn't seen all of them. And I particularly liked the idea that there was a new one coming along called Space 1999, which sounded really exciting and futuristic, because this was, after all, still 1974 or 75. And 1999 was an awfully long way in the future. And I loved the model. There was then an agonising period of probably about 6 to 9 months of build-up before the series actually started airing on ITV in Wales. Magazine articles, photographs, lots of things that sort of teased you about what was to come. But it was an agonising wait for the actual show to begin. Dinky launched the die-casting Eagle model around about the time that the series started airing, and this is my original Eagle Transporter, which I acquired at the same time. I actually have two of them. I have an Eagle Freighter, which is the one in gloss white, and I have the Eagle Transporter with a metallic green body. I won one of them by entering a quiz in a magazine. I can't at this point remember which one it was. So one of them I sort of paid for out of my own pocket money, or had bought for me, and the other one I actually legitimately won it in a competition. The Eagle Transporter, a very nice design. You've got this sort of modular spacecraft that can accept different pods in true sort of Gerry Anderson Thunderbirds fashion. And the transporter came with this kind of pressurised cargo module for the Space 1999 personnel of Moonbase Alpha. And then the Eagle Freighter was the same basic model, different colour, but instead of this module it had a kind of skeletal cargo module which could be used to pick up nuclear waste pods, and there was a kind of hook thing with a magnet on that you could use to reel in the pods. So a little bit of play value, not massive. As much as I love my Eagle models, my two of them, there wasn't much you could do with them once you had them, because there wasn't any other Space 1999 merchandising. So you were kind of limited in the way you could, play stories in your imagination. But I like them a lot, well enough to look after them over the years. And although there's just a few scratches and bits of plastic missing, I'm still looked after my Eagle. I don't know where the Transporter is. I've got it somewhere. But towards the end of 1976, I was in another shop in Barry, and Airfix, it turned out, had brought out a kit for the Eagle, which was in a larger scale than the Dinky model. So I bought the Airfix kit, I made it, and it made into a really nice, impressive model of the Eagle. That was it. I don't know what happened to my Airfix Eagle. It's probably long gone in the bin. The years and years passed, and although Space 1999 is not tremendously good science fiction, the basic premise of the show made absolutely no sense. The idea that the moon is blasted out of Earth's orbit by nuclear waste. Somehow the people living on the moon aren't pulped by the acceleration as the moon hurtles out of the solar system. And every week the moon passes through another solar system, an alien solar system, giving the characters just enough time to interact with some planet or civilization before they speed on to the next week's adventure. So it didn't make any sense whatsoever. And the science that was presented within each episode was mostly gobbledygook. But it didn't matter, I loved it. It was fantastic, and it had spaceships in it, and there was usually a different spaceship every week, an alien spaceship or perhaps a new piece of technology connected to Moonbase Alpha that you hadn't saw. And the interior sets look really good. Season 1, Space 1999, is still really impressive from a sort of production standpoint. So it's worth watching, just if you can sort of drown out the bad science and the dubious plotting at times. It just looks really good. So I've always had a soft spot for Space 1999. Weirdly, I never saw Series 2, although I had the annual. It was a bit odd because the annual was full of pictures of characters from Space 1999 I'd never seen on television. All the sets had changed, the costumes had changed, but we never got it in Wales. It was never transmitted on regional ITV. So I've never actually seen a full episode of the second series of Space 1999, which is the one that's very different in tone to the first series. So I'm not. I suppose at some point I should go and watch it, but for me, it's the series one is where the memories are. But the Eagle appeared throughout the whole run of the program, and a few years ago, I was able to build the MPC kit for the Eagle Transporter, and it's a 22-inch long model. It's half the size of the studio filming model miniature that they used, and it's an accurate replica of the filming miniature, even down to the things that don't quite make sense. So there isn't, for instance, the physical connection between the sort of command module and the rest of the ship isn't wide enough. You could never have an airlock coupling between, as it appeared to work in the series. But by the same token, when you compare the interior sets of how the astronauts sit at their controls, it doesn't really marry up to the overall proportions of the model. But I didn't notice any of that when I was little. I was just happy that we got to see the Eagles each week. And it's a fantastic sort of utilitarian spacecraft with mostly sort of skeletal structure, sort of modular manoeuvring pods, big engines at the back. Looks really cool. It's just the sort of thing you could imagine making sense on the lunar surface. And okay, the front bit's a little bit streamlined, but maybe that's for making emergency re-entries to Earth's atmosphere or something. So you could kind of say, yeah, it kind of makes sense, And I think there's a lineage here back to some of the model work in 2001 as well. So it's a cracking model. It still looks really good. But of course, within the series, it had to do whatever the demands of the episode required of it. So it would often go into planetary atmospheres and do things that really don't make an awful lot of sense for a spacecraft that's so non-aerodynamic. But it didn't matter. It was the Eagle and it was cool. So the MPC kit, it goes together very easily. It's a really easy kit to build. Lots of pieces, but everything fits really well. It's a little bit repetitive, so you have to make 4 of everything. So you have to make 4 of these modules, and then there's these sort of interior bits which are not replicated on the Dinky model at all. But in here, there's loads of detailing that you barely saw on screen, but it really adds to the presence of the model. And there's nice little touches. So because it's a model of the model, right here, if I can hold them up, you've got tiny little lunar modules, and I think these came from the Revel kit of the Saturn V rocket. So they've basically bought in loads of plastic kits and just cut things up and glued them on in a way that would look cool. So that's the MPC Eagle, lovely model. The cargo pod is detachable. I won't detach it now. It just sort of clips into place. I had the option of painting it, well, going with this sort of all white version, which you mainly saw in the series. But there's also the kind of red and white kind of emergency rescue pod, and I always thought that looked cool. So I couldn't decide which to do, so in the end I did red and white on one side and white on the other. And I just used masking tape and a brush to paint in the red. I was a bit surprised they didn't provide transfers for that, but never mind, it came good okay. And then I put the decals on. There are loads of decals, which look really good. And then tons of sort of subtle weathering just to make it look a bit dirtier. So there you are, that's the Eagle. They do a kit for the Hawk variant, which was a kind of militarised spacecraft that appeared in one episode, the Mark 9 Hawk. They do that in the same scale as this, so that's kind of on my wish list, is to build the Mark 9 Hawk. Really cool looking spacecraft, but I love my Eagle. Just about fits in my display cabinet. Well, excitingly, I had to go and pick up a package this morning, and here's another sort of thing to add to the stash. It's another Jerry Anderson kit. It wasn't even on my radar until about a week ago. So something else to build. And this one's from Captain Scarlet, one of the Super Marionation series. It's a Captain Scarlet Spectrum transport plane from IME. So absolutely, really looking forward to getting stuck into that. So open it up, get a look at the castings. That gives you an idea how big it's going to be cool. It's going to be a nice big model. So transfers, screws all look good. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. Alright, thank you. Thanks for watching. I'm just going to go out for a run in a minute. Part of my preparation for the Cardiff Half Marathon, which I'm doing in support of Cancer Research Wales. So if you've enjoyed this video, hop over to my blog and you can find out about sponsoring me. If not, I hope you've enjoyed the video anyway. Cheers!